Hello. It's been quite a while, and you made such an awesome video that I just wanted to make a video of my own for multiple reasons, which I will get to soon enough. So originally, fun fact, I had planned on, when I saw your video, getting the whole group together, the Frisbee friends, like uh, Herb and James and Eric, and that they're pretty centralized. They're all kind of in the Philadelphia area, except for me. I'm in a different area, which I will elaborate upon. Um, but I figured, oh, let's get our group together and make a video. And over the Christmas break, we all got together at Evan's house, and it was such a great time. And I completely forgot to. I had mentioned to them earlier, but just completely forgot to bring up, hey, let's do this 20-minute video for John Power about our lives, blah blah blah. So that failed. So I was like, okay, I'll just make a video for my on my own. So here I am. This is take 327, but not really. Sort of, maybe. I don't know. Um, okay, where to start? Okay, I think you left me at the end of my freshman year of college, which is ages ago. Jeez. Okay. Well, all right. So many things have happened, and I've learned a lot of things too. Um, I'm gonna try and make this concise because I feel like I'm probably gonna ramble, but I'll try and keep it to a minimum. Um, so, first of all, I think you left me when I was still an engineering major, which is different now. Um, I was in engineering till the end of my sophomore year, and then I was like, hey, I'm doing these internships and I'm not really enjoying these classes as much, and I don't really like this population that I'm working with and stuff. And so I had all these considerations and concerns, and that's where I realized, like, just no, it wasn't for me. Which I look back on and I think, yeah, I could have definitely stuck it out and did it and been okay with it, but I'm really happy with what I chose, kind of. Um, so I did a lot of soul searching, and it was really a hectic time for me because I just didn't know any. I was like calling I was I was calling like coaches and being like, "Hey, do you want to talk? Like, I want to understand myself more," and kind of like going to different businesses and looking at them and researching different majors and just doing all this stuff. And like one thing in particular stuck out to me, and that was rehab and human services. And I just was like, this is really cool. And I think like I don't know if you've ever read any Malcolm Gladwell, but he did this really awesome book called Blink, um, which I read maybe like 6 or 7 years ago now. Uh, but he basically made the case for those snap judgments and how like our gut instinct can be so much more powerful than hours and pound hours of thought. And so not that I'm basing my entire life career on like, hey, that one thing looked cool. Let's go do it. um, but yeah, so basically from there, I like looked into it more, and I had this one particular idea of what I wanted to do in that field, but like I was jumping around and I didn't really know. And so I visited these businesses and they were really cool and I liked the work. And then I got into my first class. It was like an intro to that major, intro to rehab and human services. And it was just like the teacher was amazing and she brought in all these professionals. And I was like, this field is so vast and so like amazing. I got to do it. So that was the next 2.5 years playing catch up with my classes. And also actually having more free time than I was when I was an engineer, because that just sucked all the time out of my day, just doing all that work and figuring those problems out. I feel like I personally, I wasn't worse at it than other people, but it took me longer to kind of grasp some of the ideas, which was a frustration that I kind of was starting to boil through, you know, do I really want to do this? Blah, blah, losing motivation. Um, so I had this renewed sense of motivation, and I was like, I'm going to do this. Like, I thought about this. Did the research. I am like really confident in my decision, so I'm going to go. And I just gave it my all, and my grades went up, and I had so much more free time that I invested in these extracurriculars, which really, really shaped kind of who I was. I did this group called Students Engaging Students, which was the best decision I made at Penn State, I think. Besides meeting you, of course. um, but it was just the service leadership club that got me super involved. It led to all these other organizations like Service Trips Planning Team, where we took our spring breaks and our Thanksgiving breaks, and we went to different parts of the country. Like we went to West Virginia, went to DC. Actually, I went to West Virginia twice. Um, but we went to these places and we just spent a whole week at a service project. And in the day we would do the service and um, understanding. And then at night we would do these learning kind of reflection activities, which would be these fun little games and thought mechanisms that we kind of understand exactly what we were doing and more about the greater issue and kind of connect with our services and made some really great friendships. And obviously at night, late night, there was fellowshipping and games, and we had these like little warm fuzzy baskets we wrote on. We put them in the basket, and it was an amazing time. um, and then there was this fresh start day of service and leadership. And so I met this person. Her name was Charlie, and she was the service coordinator at Penn State. And she really just like got me passionate about community service. And so, like, I saw like this human services and this community service, and I was like, I just really want to like combine these and like do as much as possible with doing all this stuff. And so I basically took that mentality and I went through my college career like that, and it was just such a great time. Obviously, lots of stress at times and little sleep, and great parties and bad tests and amazing tests and like the whole college shebang. So it was college. I Yeah, you were at Penn State, you running around and doing these things and seeing these shows and all this everything that this community has to offer. Like, it's just phenomenal. So I think I spent enough time on that. But yeah, it was fantastic. And so my senior year, I started kind of prepping for what do I really want to do. I'm not really sure, but I have all these like motivations and ideas, kind of like you mentioned. Um, and so I applied, and I spent like I longest I've ever spent typing a single document, maybe like 40, close to 50 hours typing this. I think it was like a 4-page document of like my resume, this 3-page, maybe it was 5 pages, like like a 1-page answering a question, a 3-page like essay on whatever I wanted or addressing this general topic, and then my resume. And I just like wrote it and rewrote it and rewrote. I wrote like I probably wrote like 20 pages to start for this 3-page thing, and then I just like cut it down and replaced things and just like spell checked and grammar checked and got people's advice on. And so I did all this thing. It was called for the Emerson National Fellowship, and so really cool project, had to do with hunger and homelessness. And I had just spent a week in DC kind of giving out food for people at food shelters and stocking shelves and like learning about those kind of issues. And so I was really, really interested in it at the moment. And I was like, this is what I want to do. This is that human services kind of thing and community services. And then I applied, and 2 months later, they were like, we had a record number of applicants and you were not selected for an interview, and it kind of bummed me out. Um, but then I was like, okay, I got to keep doing this. Um, so I applied for some. I didn't actually apply for anything after that yet. I had to finish my year by doing an internship. Like that was it was this 13 credit class or 15 credit class for the school where you set up an internship and then you sent like little reports, daily reports about what you did at your workplace, and then your supervisor signed off on it and gave you like a 1 to 5 grading thing, whatever. So I did that at this um, mental health institution in Philadelphia that dealt with homeless chronic mental illness, which was a really intense population. But I had toured it and I was so fascinated by it. And I realized that mental health was not where I wanted to be in that field. Although I found it extremely fascinating. And maybe it was just the institution. I didn't have the greatest time at that place because got a snapshot of what their day was and it was cool and great. But then the larger processes of the institution, like I spent 3 months there and I was one of the oldest or longest working people on my like team in that 3 month span. I would see people like come in one day and quit the very next day. They were constantly rehiring, um, and it was kind of a mess. The what was going on there, um, and the work they were doing was kind of like good intentioned, but a lot of the people saw it as like kind of maintaining the status quo and not really changing or mixing things up or it just yeah, I don't want to talk about that too much, but that kind of got me in a little bit of a slump and I was just like I don't know, and so I really wanted to shake things up, and so I applied for AmeriCorps, which if you don't know it's kind of like the domestic peace corps for America, and so like I applied and I got accepted into a couple different things, and then I chose to go to Colorado to work at the ARC, which it works with people with intellectual and developmental disabilities. Um, and so I was doing capacity building there, doing marketing and volunteer recruitment, event planning, a little bit of grant writing and fundraising, that kind of stuff. So I basically flew out to Colorado the day after I graduated. Um, and my parents were not the happiest about that. But it was something I really wanted to do. And so I lived on a stipend, which was difficult at times, but the people that I met and the things that I did were fantastic. It kind of took some getting used to at first. Like, first I was like, oh, this is a new area. It's so fun. Like, exploring the places, being more independent, all that kind of stuff. It was great. And then some reality set in. And then I kind of clicked more with, some people out there and got a wider view of what I could do, both professionally and just like in the state of Colorado. There's mountains, there's skiing, there's hiking, there's um, just so many like really cool parks and things you can go to. So I got a lot more outdoorsy. I did a lot more camping and that kind of stuff, which was so much fun. And I still do. I haven't done as much recently, but the past summer I did a whole ton, which was a lot of fun. Um, but I'm trying to think. Yeah. So that I did 2 years of that, one just at that place, and then another at a United Way where I was like the leader of the group, where I kind of like instead of coordinating an individual project, I coordinated the vistas who were working on particular sites and just made sure like everybody had a site, everyone had their resources, all this kind of stuff. Um, so that was, I left on an absolute high note from that. It was phenomenal. I had this awesome friend group and um, like felt super empowered and was like really. I wish I could do it forever. During my second year, I was like, I want to do this all the time, but I was still living on a stipend, so that was not financially feasible at all. So I was like, okay, this is great. It's good that I'm leaving on this high note, which I also left Penn State on a high note, but it was also kind of a bittersweet high note. Um, I had done this like 6 day kind of seminar thing where it was all about empowerment and taking an idea and like transforming it into real actions. And so that was the end of my junior year. I did that. And then my end of my senior year, I went back to that same program and I facilitated it as an on-site coordinator. And it was kind of like this bittersweet, like, I love you guys and I love this program and it's fantastic, but like everybody here is going to go back to Penn State and like see each other and like go back to your clubs and organizations and things. And I really was kind of like a more standoffish than I usually am. For that reason, that I was kind of leaving, and it was kind of like tough to meet all these amazing, amazing people with these drives. And that's, I think, the coolest part about the choice that I made, with changing my major and getting interested in service and joining AmeriCorps, is I just met these phenomenal people who were so open and so passionate about what they were doing. It was just like they had this drive that I just, they wanted to be better, and it made me want to be better and made me want to make other people want to be better. And it was just like this feedback loop of positivity and fantasticness. And that reminded me of something kind of off topic, but when you were back at Penn State, I had this small conversation with you, which I think, I don't even know if you remember it, but I felt like you had all these like interesting philosophical and like emotional and just, like theoretical conversations with people. And it was just like so fascinating to me. And I was just like, how do you do it? Like, how do you get these people to, um, how do you get these people to like do like get open up and talk about these abstract concepts and deeper issues and things? And you were just like, just start the conversation. That you just literally have to like say what you want to say or ask what you want to ask, and it'll happen more. And I took that to heart. That was one of the simplest but greatest pieces of advice somebody's given me about like doing something. And so I started more conversations like that. And throughout, I just learned so much more about people and concepts and ideas because of that. So I want to say thank you for that small bit of wisdom that you probably unintentionally gave to me. But I think that proves like the little things that you do that you write off in your everyday can really have a big impact on somebody else that you are completely unaware of. So you shouldn't really take anything you do for granted, no matter what it is. Even if you think it's a mistake, someone else might not. Um, anyway, I feel like I'm getting really long and rambly, so I'm gonna make this last part quick because you probably heard some things and blah blah blah. So yeah, I moved out to Colorado. So I'm after my AmeriCorps year, I moved down to Denver, and so the while I was in AmeriCorps, I'd applied for grad school programs um, in occupational therapy, and I didn't get in my first year. I applied to, I think, 8 different programs, um, some of which even like there was some outstanding prereqs, but I could fill those in. But even with the it I didn't get in any programs, and I think a reason was I applied really late, and there was some other issues and some stuff, and so I was just kind of like faffing around, and I was like, ah, man, do I really want to do this? I was kind of disheartened by it, but after that, like leaving AmeriCorps and that high and everything, I was just like, I did some more shadowing for OTs, and I was like, yes, like this is something that's really interesting to me, and I can work in these great fields and these awesome populations and like do this really intricate but simple overlaid work. And I applied again, and I applied to way more schools and all these things, and some I hadn't even heard of, and I was just like clicking this website. I'm like, oh, this is getting expensive, but I need to apply to this one and this one, and this one, and so I did all that, and I got into a bunch of programs, and one of them I was a small school in the Philadelphia region, which is where Evan and Herb and James and Eric and they all kind of are in that outer Philadelphia, Westchester area. Um, and so I thought I was going to go there. And then I got into this other program, which I found out at a later point was the number two program in the country. I was just like, they had accepted me and they hadn't even interviewed me, and I was like, this school is a little sketchy, I don't know if I want to go here. And then I like did research on it, and I was like, whoa, this is a really good program, and I went to visit it and it was phenomenal, and I was just like, I gotta go here. Like, this will make me the best OT I can be, versus these other programs will prepare me well, but like this will make force me to be like the best I can be, and I want to be as good as I can at as much as I can with the time that I have. So, um, anyway, I am continuing to ramble. I don't want this to go over like 25 minutes. It's getting long enough. So, yeah, I realized that. And I also realized my other passion of walking dogs, which I'm just doing part time right now. But yeah, right now I'm just going to school part time and working part time with dogs, which is awesome because that frees up my schedule to do like volunteer work in the field that I want to work in, because you can't find any kind of paid work there that isn't super grunt work, because you need to be licensed for everything, which is the whole reason why I'm going to school. But anyway, I am doing that right now. I am currently in Denver, Colorado, and in end of June, no, end of May, beginning of June, I'm going to Italy with my family. They were wanted to planning a family vacation there, so I'm jumping all around Italy with my family. And I was like, hey, I'll be in Europe. Why not kind of make some pit stops after that whole family portion? And so I talked to some people and I planned a bunch of things. And basically, James Chiquinas and I are going to be in London from June 9th to June 12th. And we would love to come find you. So maybe if you want to come to the city, or us come visit somewhere else, or I don't know. We have lots to talk about for this, so I'm going to send you this message, or send you this video, and then message you as well, so we can talk about certain things, which will be cool. But I hope you get this, and I hope it makes your day, and I hope to see you soon in a couple months, which is going to be so exciting. Um, and I just wanted to give you that update, since you gave us such a awesome update on your life, and I hope it was entertaining to you. But yeah, I guess this is the end of this portion. So I'm just going to close it because I feel like I'm completely rambling. But I miss you so much, and I still remember little things you taught me, and I'm looking forward to catching up in person soon. So let me know about those dates, and we'll chat. Bye.